portraiture played an important part in the creation of the collective consciousness and cultural production in European history during the Renaissance, the period in the arts which is commonly characterized by references to Greek and Roman models of classical antiquity. The artistic progress in Northern Europe, however, covering France, Germany, Flanders, and the Netherlands during the 15th and 16th centuries, and defined as the Northern Renaissance, was not influenced by ancient Greek and Roman ideas and forms, instead following the traditions inherited from the Middle Ages. In contrast to the Italian Renaissance metaphysical idealism, Northern Renaissance artists produced more pragmatic and humane portraits with an unprecedented realism and great dexterity that surpassed those of many Italian masters. The Northern Renaissance style can be described as a result of a confluence of late Gothic art, contemporary ideas about observation, the Protestant Reformation ideology challenging the absolute power of the Catholic Church that had consumed much of human resources throughout Europe for almost a millennium. Northern Renaissance painting is based mainly on two principles. First is the invention and use of oil paint, which facilitated a meticulous attention to detail and also created the luminosity which could be achieved only with oil. In his first edition of the Lives of the Most Excellent Painters, Sculptors, and Architects, Giorgio Vasari attributed the invention of oil painting to the Van Eyck brothers around 1420. The second principle followed by the artists of Northern Europe is the appreciation and use of distinctive optical effects and techniques, such as diffuse light and a convex mirror. One of the most exquisite portraits of the Northern Renaissance is a portrait of a young girl produced by the early Netherlandish painter Petrus Christus, who is believed to have been trained in Jan van Eyck's studio. This painting marks a major stylistic progress in contemporary portraiture because the young girl is situated in a three-dimensional realistic setting and with remarkable unpretentiousness engages the viewer with her unwavering gaze that is both charming and equally disconcerting. The diffuse light caresses the contours of her delicate face that shows surviving vestiges of childhood in the midst of her exquisiteness. So the viewer becomes more responsive to the frailty of the female image than to its perfection. Another masterpiece by Petrus Christus is a group portrait titled "A Goldsmith in His Shop." And like many Northern Renaissance paintings, it requires time to unveil all the intricacies and complex meanings encrypted in the scene. The picture shows a gold shop with a wealthy couple preparing for their wedding and visiting a goldsmith who is sitting at his work desk. There is much more to the story, however, and most importantly, a convex mirror placed on the goldsmith's desk reflects a view of a city, Bruges, the city where Petrus Christus lived and worked. Therefore, what we see is not just a mere desk, but in fact the front of the goldsmith shop, which shows a street in Bruges. And by using a convex reflection technique, Petrus Christus virtually positions the viewer on the street with the two young men approaching the goldsmith shop who are captured in the mirror. And in so doing, the artist extends the pictorial space and expands the viewer's field of vision. It is generally accepted that each portrait expresses individual identity, but as art historian Erwin Panofsky acknowledged, it also seeks to bring out whatever the Sita has in common with the rest of humanity. And the European mind in the North during the 15th and 16th centuries saw Christian God in every aspect of the human experience. So Northern Renaissance artists rendered the human subject with unparalleled naturalism, and at the same time created profound impulses to go beyond visual perception toward higher levels of spiritual understanding.